Comes out to Tom James. Good shot! Oh, what a goal! What a goal from Tom James! Oh, that was special!
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Orient Live. It's another massive fixture in League One as the O's are on the hunt for that elusive playoff spot, and it's Wigan Athletic who are the opposition today, and here are the O's arriving at the DW Stadium in the hunt for all 3 points. And we're going to be bringing you every single kick and every minute of the action here on Orient Live, and it's royalty in the studio today in the shape of Glen Wilkie and Joe Widdowson. Sorry, he called you Joe Wilkinson. He's on 8 out of 10 cats as countdown. It is an exciting one today, Glen. A week off on the training pitch, so hopefully fully refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah, I think more so with the run of games we've had Tuesday night, Saturday, players with little aches and pains, niggles, gives them that little bit of extra time to recover for them. Obviously get the ideas across. I've got a full week on the training pitch to get the ideas across in the lead up to today's game, so it should be a good game.
It's been a phenomenal start to 2024. Last Saturday was unfortunate. Probably didn't ever really look like beating Bristol. It was a tough game for us, but we've got to take every game as it comes now. And you know, for as long as the playoff spots are mathematically possible, you take each game as it comes, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like you said, Ollie, it's been such a good run of form really since the start of the year. I think, the team have really sort of, found a good rhythm, good momentum. Players have come into the team and done really well, probably maybe better than some would have thought. And I think, yeah, like you said, you're going to get little hiccups and little bumps in the road now and again. I think last weekend was one where, we're still an inexperienced team. Probably maybe overperforming a little bit at this level, with the sort of the age of the squad and the lack of experience in League One. But I think, the boys are in really good place at the moment. I think, the coaching staff have done an excellent job. And I think they'll be bang up for today. I think, it's one of the bigger teams in the league, although, having an indifferent season, I think it's a good place to go and play football. And I think, yeah, I'm expecting a good performance.
I mean, they throw up surprises, this teams, in the games against, the likes of Portsmouth and Bolton. You probably don't give them much of a chance, and then you go out and get all 3 points, and then against maybe the smaller teams, or the not smaller teams, don't want to upset anyone, but against the teams where on paper you think you should win it, we struggle. So today, as Joe says, a bigger team, we relish these opportunities, don't we?
We do. I had a look at the bookmakers, and they've got us as favourites to win today, which surprised me with Wigan being at home. Going back to your point about against the higher ranked sides in the league, and we do well, I feel that's because they attack us. They're going for the win all the time. We struggle against the lesser sides when they shut up shop, park the bus, whatever you want to call it, and it's like, right, come and break us down. And we seem to struggle against teams like that. Whether it's we're not moving the ball quick enough, taking enough shots, whatever it is, we do struggle to break teams down when they get loads of numbers behind the ball. But it's against the teams who attack and they leave space, and when we get the turnover and then we attack, because we're very good on the break. We're fast, we get out the pitch quick, and that's where I think we've had the success against the Portsmouths and teams like that. And it's just when people get too many bodies behind the ball, that's when we sort of come a cropper.
Well, Richie was fined and charged by the FA, but thankfully he doesn't have to serve a touchline ban. So he's in the dugout today, and he was also in the boot room early this week because we caught up with him and heard his thoughts ahead of the game.
How are we looking team news-wise ahead of Saturday's game?
Again, we've just got to look after the players this week. We've trained well today, we'll give them a day off tomorrow, and then we'll train Friday before the Wigan game. Tough game, beautiful stadium, good place to go and play, well-coached team. A team that have obviously had the problems. I think they're very similar to Reading, where they've had the problems and the points deduction, but the players have not given, which happens a lot when you get clubs in these situations that players can give in and management teams can give in. Them and Reading are really, really good players, and they're giving everything for the football club. So no, it'll be a tough game.
Yeah, you mentioned it there. They're obviously in a little bit of a false position because of their deduction. What kind of challenges are they going to give us? Where are their main threats come from?
I think they've got some good players across the board. I've worked with Matt Smith, who's a good midfield player, can take it on the back foot, can play forward, can play reverse passes, can play in pockets. Asgard, good footballer. Humphreys, for me, is one of the best players in the division. We obviously know Charlie Kelman. I've worked with Johnny Smith. And they've got a couple of defenders, Charlie Hughes, who will go on to have an excellent career. So a lot of talented players.
Right then, Richie's talking about the opposition there, but let's focus on ourselves, and it's Leyton Orient, of course. And let's remind ourselves, or not even remind ourselves, let's take a look and see how the O's are lining up for this afternoon's fixture. So a few changes from last Saturday's defeat to Bristol Rovers, but starting in goal, it's our number one, it's Solbrin. The back four is unchanged, it's Ethan Galbraith at right back and Tom James at left back, with Omar Beckles and Brandon Cooper at centre back. Wearing the armband coming back into midfield, it's the captain, it's Darren Prattley, and alongside him is Idris El Mazouni. Replacing George Moncur, who's got a chest infection, it's Max Sanders, he'll be playing in that number 10 role. And then the front three is Shaq Ford, Ollie O'Neill, and leading the line is Ruel Sotirio. And on the bench for the O's is Sam Howes, Jaden Sweeney, Jordan Brown, Joe Piggott, Dan Adu-Aji, Rob Hunt and Keon Edwards. So an interesting one, Jordan Brown dropping to the bench there, but do you think that's potentially an idea as to what Richie's expecting from this game, bringing Darren Prattley back in? He hasn't started too many games recently, but you know what you get with him, and he's a battler in that midfield. Yeah,
it might just be, to give Jordan a little bit of a rest. He's played a lot of football, a lot of games in their midfield, and like you said, on the other hand, it may just be that he wants to have that little bit more experience, a little bit of know-how, away from home, good against a good side, and he might just want that little bit more experience in there. It's unlikely that we're going to see Prattley get through 90 minutes, so I'm sure Jordan Brown will be involved at some stage, but maybe just wants to have that little bit of experience in there.
I mean, because if we look back to the reverse fixture, we managed to get a draw, but if we cast our minds back then, they were a good side, Wigan, and they were probably could have got the win. And I think going to the DW Stadium, ex-Premier League ground, it's quite a big occasion. So yeah, do you think maybe looking towards your experience in the midfield there, and that's why he's brought Prattley back in?
Definitely, and they really impressed me when we played them earlier in the season. I remember, I think we was on here, and at half time I was like, wow, they're the best team I've seen at this stadium, this as an away team. Really impressed, and I thought we were fortunate to get a point that day. Looking at their team, I think they've scored the most goals outside of the top 8 in the league, so they're a threat. They're very good going forward. They do score goals. Their defence is a bit shaky though, so we can sort of try and expose that. But that's probably why Prattley's coming, just to shore it up, just to get bodies in front of that back four, just to give them that extra bit of help.
And with George Moncur out the squad completely with that illness, you've got quite a young front four, if you want to call it that, with Max Sanders in there as well. But Ollie O'Neill, Shaq Ford and Ruel, they've played a lot of football in recent weeks. They're young, they're exciting. But I guess you need that experience from Darren Prattley. But if you have him, you can just tell your front four to go out and enjoy themselves, I guess. Yeah,
and I think that will be the message. I think, like Glen said, it will be, Prattley will be doing that job of sort of screening, protecting, breaking things up, even allowing Idris El Mazouni to use his legs and to, break forward and make the box as he does on occasion. So yeah, I think it'll be a case of, obviously the front three who, we know they're exciting, can cause a lot of problems, very lively, sometimes a little bit unpredictable, but that's what you get with young players. But, they'll have the freedom to go and express themselves and cause problems up the top end of the pitch. And I think, supported by Idris just behind them with Darren Prattley, just sweeping up and being that extra bit of insurance, because, I think as much as Richie always wants to try and dominate the ball and play a possession-based style, you do want to be aware of turning the ball over and the opposition counter-attacking. So I think Prattley will just give us that bit of protection there.
And on the subject of Moncur dropping out the squad, it's a big blow for Orient. He's probably been our best player of late. Since he's come back into the squad, he's been a match winner.
Yeah, he's done really, really well. Sort of last 4-6 weeks. He's had big impacts, big key moments in games as well. Looks fit, looks sharp. He's shooting superb, and then I think Richie said it a couple of weeks ago that when he's facing the opposition's goal and he's got the ball to his feet, he can pick a lovely weighted pass, or he can create a bit of space and get the ball in the box, or get a shot off. It's disappointing that he's not available. I think he's unwell today, so it's a chance for whoever comes in and replaces him. In that position, it's their chance now to try and keep that spot and keep the shirt.
Well, we think it will be Max Sanders who fills in that kind of advanced midfield role. We haven't seen much of him in an Orient shirt, but in the glimpses we have seen, he's looked really good. I think probably the first half against Portsmouth stands out. He was fantastic, but he struggled to get going with his injuries. But hopefully today you can put that behind him and kick on.
Yeah, it is a bit of a shame because, as you said, we've seen the little glimpses, and as you start to get a little bit excited, think, he's bright, he's energetic, he's mobile, makes good forward runs. He has a little injury problem, and then he's out of the squad for a few weeks. So not managed to get that consistency yet this season. But I agree, Ollie. I think the little bits we have seen of him, he does look sharp. He looks energetic. He wants to get into attacking areas and get shots off and run forward. He's energetic off the ball. He's not one of these players, maybe a bit like Moncur, who wants the ball to feet a lot. He will break lines and make forward runs and get himself in the box. Works hard off the ball, presses well without it. So, no, a good player and a good opportunity for him.
And as a player, obviously you were both defenders, but I feel like even more so.
Hold up. I played in midfield as well.
Well, I thought you were a fullback, Glen.
My first 3 games for Orient, I was right back, centre half and centre midfield. So
versatile.
Well, there we go, Joe. You were just solid left back.
I was.
But as a player, I mean, and probably more so in his position, trying to fit in and get that game time, it must be so frustrating to be in and out with injuries when it's kind of out of your hands. Does that make it harder when you do get a chance to kind of try and hit the ground?
Yes and no. It comes down to mindset, really. What's the makeup of the play? What's his personality like? Obviously, it's not ideal being in and out. You want to get in the team, start playing well. You want to keep that consistency going. But it comes down to all sports, everything. It's a mental game. If he goes into it with a positive mind, he's fit, he's healthy. We know he's a good player. I think he'll do well, and I just really hope he does well today. And then it gives the manager something to think about in the coming games.
Well, as you're classing yourself as a midfielder, then I'll come to Joe for the defensive questions. It is an unchanged back four, which, whilst there's changes further up the field and in midfield, the back four, they've performed well of late. Brandon Cooper and Omar Beckles are forming that partnership, and they'll be wanting to put last Saturday out in mind and try and keep another clean sheet today.
Yeah, they will, and they'll need to defend well. I think today, they'll need to really be resilient and stand up to the threats that Wigan pose. Good team going forward on their day, got good individuals, so they'll need to first and foremost be tight. I think it'll be a different sort of game to sort of the home games where, especially in recent weeks, we've tended to have a lot of the ball, been fairly comfortable, and it's been a case of sort of being concentrated and being switched on to those moments when you do have to defend. I think they'll have to do a lot more defending today, so to speak. But I think, like you said, we look like a settled back four now. I think that is probably to the end of the season, unless Dan Happy, you see Dan Happy returning, that's probably going to be the strongest back four we'll go with. Ethan Galbraith, for me, has just been a revelation at right back. Really good, just really impressive how he's, it's clearly not his preferred position, but he does such a good job there, and he's become so important for, our style of play and our build-up. He's rolling the team, rolling inside, driving inside the pitch. He's got license to do that, which I think he enjoys. And I think for him, talk about the likes of Max Sanders, like a young player who's not had as many games as he would want to. I think, for Galbraith coming in, he's probably had a lot of football and he's really adapted well to that right back role. So, Tom James, I think he's equally comfortable on that left-hand side as he is on the right, and we know what he brings to the team. So it's a good solid back four. I think with Omar back in form and Cooper, I think he's been a good addition to the squad.
Just to add on to that, like you were saying about it'll be a different type of game, and the other team will have probably a lot of the ball. We need to be really patient, and we need to be disciplined and not get dragged out, because Wigan, remembering rightly back here, very intelligent plays. They will drop into the hole and they'll try and drag the centre halves out of that back line to create space for runners going in behind. boys have got to make a decision early, like we're going to stick to our back four. You can have the ball then, we'll get out to you, but don't get dragged out, because it happened when we played away at Bolton. That was a big problem when we went 3-0 down in that first 10 minutes. Exactly that sort of centre-halves getting dragged out, leaving space in behind. So we've got to be really, really disciplined.
And I think, just on that, I think that could be where Pratley will be important today, because he'll be play that discipline role. Do you know what I mean? So, as Glen said, you don't want just two centre-backs being drawn out into, central areas and midfield sort of zones. So it's going to be down to that communication between centre-halves and the likes of, probably more likely Pratley, Idris El Mazouni at times maybe, just to be like, look, plug that gap. Do you know what I mean? Pick up that player there, because I don't want to get drawn into those sort of uncomfortable areas where then there's midfield runners taking the space that have been left in behind.
And then in possession as well, then I think Joe's already touched on it, but how crucial are those fullback roles as well when you've got Idris and Darren doing the hard graft and keeping the solidity in midfield, but probably two of our best ball players, and as Joe's touched on, some great football is played from those fullbacks with Tom James and Ethan Galbraith, and they invert and they're so crucial, aren't they? Very important.
One is that they're good defenders, they're sensible when they defend in, but on the ball, that's where they come into their own. Joe touched on it with Galbraith coming inside. He actually, you get an extra midfielder on the pitch when he gets the ball, when he comes inside, and he's so comfortable as well. It's got a really nice sort of style about him. You watch him when he carries the ball, passing, very good. On the other side, TJ, left foot, right foot, we know what he's like. Free kicks, we've seen him score cracking goals over the last couple of years. Very, very comfortable on either foot, and he just, for me, I really like him. I think he goes unnoticed a lot of the time, and because he's not a pacey fullback bombing up and down the line or whatever, if he had that, he'd be unreal. He'd probably be playing in a lot higher division, but he's just calm, he gets the ball, you know what you're going to get out of him, and he's always, for me, all right, there's the odd occasion when he's not, but he's always a sort of 7, 8 out of 10.
He certainly is. Right, it's time to hear from one of the lads now, and whilst he may not be in the matchday squad, unfortunately he is still in high spirits, and we caught up with him at the training ground earlier this week, so it's time to hear from George Moncur.
We go on to the football stuff now. So February was a really great month for you. 2 goals, 3 assists. How would you assess it?
Yeah, just obviously for me, I believe in God's timing loads. It's my main thing in life, as you know. And obviously, a few people have asked me what's different, what's changed, and that. I didn't do anything different at the start of the year. It just fell for me recently. Last couple of games been difficult because I had a chest infection and it's knocked me off a bit. But I'm sure I'll get back to the level I've been, so hopefully I can.
I know you said you can't really put your finger on what's changed, but how enjoyable was February for you?
Yeah, it's great. Obviously playing, that's what you want to do as a football player, is play games and ultimately play well. So yeah, obviously I got the belief, got great players around me to help me out as well, and obviously great staff, manager, everything. So we're in a real good position.
And do you feel like the changing system to 4 at the back has really suited you?
Yeah, I think so, because obviously, to be fair, 3 at the back is a lot more defensive in my eyes, because obviously you've got 3 centre-halves instead of 2. But I think with 4 at the back, when the way that we play with sometimes our full-backs coming inside, adding an extra man sort of in the middle, it opens up a lot of opportunities to pass the ball forward and through gaps and that. So yeah, it's been really good since we started obviously playing a 4.
Top stuff there from George. And of course, yesterday was International Women's Day, and tomorrow is Mother's Day. So if you haven't got your present sorted already, then don't worry, we've got you sorted. There's a flash sale on, we've got some details on that now. So there is 40% off of all women's home shirts on the online Superstore. The discount supplied at the checkout, and the offer does not run in conjunction with any other discounts. And maybe a little bit too late to buy it in time for Mother's Day, but a late Mother's Day present, why not? And now it's World Book Day, or it was World Book Day as well recently, and a couple of our young lads were out in the community and getting involved. So let's take a little look and see what they've been up to.
Came to the Whittingham Primary Just saw the kids, read some books for World Book Day. Just answered a lot of their questions, some funny ones. But no, it was good, man. Seeing the smiles on their faces, it was good. Well, it just opens up your mind, I think. Like you learn a lot from reading, even if it's like fictional stuff, like the characters and how they think and how you're supposed to approach certain situations. And you can kind of transfer that to life, really. So I think it was good.
World Book Day is one of the most momentous days in the school calendar, so it's been absolutely fantastic to have Leyton Orient come into our school, read with the children, really excite them for the day tomorrow. I think it's just been such an inspiring day to have the children see first team players and their interactions still with literacy and reading, and it will be something that a lot of the children will remember for a very long time. Once again, we're just really thankful for Leyton Orient and the things that we've been able to achieve so far, and hopeful for many more things to come in the future.
Fantastic visit to the school today. Aaron and Zach have been fantastic role models for the football club. Really important day for the PFA, World Book Day, and they've been right across a number of classes, just inspiring the children by reading for them, and also highlighting, their own personal stories on books that are important for them. Just from a PFA perspective, we've had a fantastic relationship with Leyton Orient Football Club over a number of years, and obviously we've got our chairman Omar Beckles as club captain, and someone that is a hugely inspiring and influential figure within the game, particularly away from the pitch.
We have a parade of the different classes going around, so it's really enjoyable day for the children and for adults as well, because the adults dress up as well. So, brilliant. Love seeing all the players. I've not got a particular favourite player. They work as a team, which we will always stress in a school. We all work as a team. I am getting married at Leyton Orient this year, so I'm looking forward to getting married there. So yeah.
Right then, let's return our attention to the football and let's take a look at the home side today in the shape of Wigan Athletic. And here is how the Latics are going to be lining up. So in goal is number 1, it's Sam Tickle. We have Charlie Hughes, Matt Smith, Thilo Asgard, Jordan Jones, Callum McManaman, Scott Smith, Luke Chambers, Baba Adiko, the captain Josh McGuinness, and Charlie Good. And on the bench for the Latics as well, it's Ben Amos, Stephen Humphreys, Jason Kerr, Liam Shaw, Martial Godo, Johnny Smith, and a familiar face in Charlie Kelman. Hopefully he stays on the bench and doesn't come on to cause us any recurring nightmares. But what do you make of Wigan then? We've touched on them briefly, but they're something of a sleeping giant, you'd say.
Yeah, they're a fairly big club. They was in the Premier League. They won the FA Cup in, 10 years ago, whatever it was. But they've had a fall from grace, haven't they? And they're in the league. They're in our division. Had a bit of a mixed season, but like I said earlier, they do score goals. They create a lot of chances, but they do leak them. So they are there to get at. Playing at the stadium up there, I don't know what the weather's like up there or the state of the pitch. Sometimes it's not the best. And it's quite windy up there because the corners of the ground are open in some areas, so it depends on what the challenges with the weather will be. But they're a decent side. We just need to get a really good start to the game and just be a bit compact and don't let them get their noses in front, because it will then be very difficult.
A mixed bag of results for them of late: 1-2, lost 2, and drawn 1 in their last 5. So it's kind of tricky to know what to expect almost.
Yeah, they have been the most consistent team. I think they do sort of find their form in little fits and starts here and there. But I didn't see them in the home game here earlier in the season. But from speaking to you guys and other people, I know on their day they are a really impressive outfit. Well coached, good footballing team. Got some good individuals, good young players. And I think at home they're sort of that's where they've had most of their better results this season. So you know, a side that's comfortable at home, I think, you know, they'll want to assert themselves. They want to get on the front foot today. They'll show no fear, and they'll want to take the game to Orient today. So it'll be a tough test against a good side, you know. But as Glen said, you know, yes, they are maybe one of the bigger sides, the bigger names in the league, but you know, they're sort of a mid-table team really in League One this season. So there's nothing to fear, I think, from an Orient perspective.
They lost 4-2 to Fleetwood in their last outing. Fleetwood obviously no real high flyers themselves, so you know, does that tell you that there's a defence to be got at today?
100%. But the game before that, I think it was live on television. I remember watching sort of about 20-25 minutes when they played at home against Bolton, and Bolton absolutely battered them. But Wigan won 1-0, I think it was. It was like crazy. They just shut up shop. So they know how to win different ways as well, you know. Like they're not just a great attacking side where they were certainly earlier in the year, but they know how to like sort of defend and then hit teams on the break and go and get goals. So like Joe said, they are a real mixed bag of a side. You don't know which one's going to turn up today, but like you say, they shipped 4 goals against Fleetwood last Saturday, so they'll be feeling a bit fragile.
Let's take a little look at Thilo Asgard. We've got some clips of him. We've highlighted him as the danger man. He's been their top-rated player of late. A great finish there, and he looks like a tidy player, Joe. Yeah,
he does. You know, I think he's sort of one of their most creative players. You know, strikes, as we saw there, strikes the ball really well. They're nice little poachers finish. But I think a lot of their good play goes through him. You know, he takes on that responsibility of being one of the sort of key creative forces in the team. And you know, as we can see, he's got an eye for goal with both feet, and you know, a real Will Ivey who we'll have to take care of today.
And he looks like he knows where the goal is, Glen. Yeah,
just watching these clips here, he picks up really good sort of positions. His movement there, he's checked to go around the back and then come across the front of the defender there and got in front of him. Really intelligent play. But on a couple of the other goals earlier in this clip, he was sort of standing still, but he's picking up space as the defenders are retreating. He's just sort of finding areas on the pitch where there's space, and luckily for him there, the ball's come to him. So we've just got to be a bit aware of that.
Well, let's return our attention to the O's then, of course. How big would it be in the greater picture of the season to pick up 3 points today? Although we didn't pick up 3 points last week, teams around us didn't pick up points really either. So it's still to play for, and a win today would be massive.
Yeah, it would be huge. I think, you know, I'm pretty sure that, you know, they won't be sort of screaming it from the rooftops, but within the camp, you know, they will have their eyes set on those playoff positions. I think, you know, the run of form that we've shown since the new year, you know, why not? I think, you know, as I said, we've had these little occasional bumps in the road, but by and large, our form's been really good, consistent. The team's been settled, and I think Richie will be really, really desperate to try and gate crash those playoff places and continue this run of form.
Well, don't forget, if you're watching along live on our YouTube, then UK fans, you can pick up an audio pass to listen along with Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock, and international fans, you can watch along with us here on Orient Live. But now it's time to head up to the DW Stadium as both teams are making their way out onto the pitch. It's time to hand over now to our match commentary team of Dave Victor and Matt Hiscock.
Good afternoon and welcome to the DW Stadium. For the first time the O's have been here. You have to go back a long, long time to the last time that Lake Noyant were here in Wigan. And, well, it's 27 years, in fact, since we were last in Wigan, and 34 since the O's won here. I was here for both, I think. Matt, were you?
97, Dave, did you say?
97.
Well, the 5-1 and then the 1-0 defeat prior to that, I saw the last victory against Wigan Athletic. I was only 3 years old, Dave, so if I was, I can't remember it, if I'm perfectly honest with you.
But it's not your first visit here because you're a big fan of rugby league.
Well, yeah, absolutely. It's a rugby league town, isn't it? No disrespect to the town of Wigan, but that is where the history, that's where the heritage is. They get decent support on the football football side, but nowhere near as big as it is on the rugby league.
It's an important anniversary, of course. 2 years that Richie Wellens has been in charge at the O's. He inherited a struggling side, a team that were